Hello and welcome back to the It Takes a Village podcast. I'm Rebecca. I'm your host. I'm so excited to be back. It's been a minute. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that is so dear to my heart and so alive for me, which is thriving. And thriving in particular for women and moms. There are so many things that I have to say about this. So we'll see that I'll try to channel it in a way that it is that you can keep track of what I'm trying to say. And I want to start by telling you that it's only a few years ago that I, for the first time, even heard of the expression thriving life. I mean, of course, English is not my mother tongue, and yet I have been speaking English for a few years or decades even, and it's just so interesting to me that that has never been an expression that has been used apparently in my circles. And the first time I came across this expression was through Rachel Garcia Seliga, a beautiful midwife that I studied postpartum care with. And then maybe 2 years ago or something, I started really thinking like, how is it possible that basically no moms are thriving? And I felt myself that I was moving further and further away from thriving. And I felt like how, or I pondered like, how can I turn the spiral? How can I create thriving life? And for a long time, I have been, I wouldn't say I've been a big complainer, but I've been more thinking about this, like somebody else needs to fix this, like for us. Like it's the fault of the system. It's the fault of mainstream society. And at some point I realized, okay, this is really not serving me because it's actually sucking energy out of me and it's not bringing me any further. It's not adding anything to my life. So what can I do instead? And I realized also that that I have a responsibility and a possibility to impact this. Because who actually is the system or society or our communities? Like, who is that? Well, that's you and me and all the other people, right? We're all individuals, like a million puzzle pieces or however big or small. And we together are creating the collective. So each of us is contributing more or less equally much and has the possibility and the responsibility to contribute to what we are creating. And, we are always creating and co-creating. We are always modeling something too, whether we want it or not. But whatever we are choosing to live today, either by default or consciously, is going to contribute to create tomorrow and the next generation's life. And I started to ask myself, okay, what is it that I want to contribute? And, like the only puzzle piece really that I can impact of the collective is my puzzle piece. I cannot decide how you are going to live your life. I can maybe inspire you. I can share some information and inspiration and tools with you, but what you decide to do with it, that's up to you. I guess the only people that I have more impact on are my children. And but mostly it's me, my own life. And I just as most of you probably I've been growing up in mainstream society, and mainstream society never intended to have us thriving. Mainstream society conditioned me to ignore my needs more or less as long as I could cope, as long as I could survive, as long as I could kind of follow along the blueprint that mainstream society has been given me, then it's all good. Like, don't ask more, don't request more. Like, that's all you need and all that is expected of you and all that you can expect. And your needs get to sit like somewhere on the back seat and they are not really important. Like, other things matter more. But if all of us are living a life like this, ignoring our own needs and being in survival state, it is no wonder that the world is not thriving. It is no wonder that our human collective is not thriving because we are a collective of individuals where hardly anybody's thriving. Most people are in survival mode and have been for mostly all of their lives. And we're never gonna create a thriving collective out of burnt out and broken individuals. It's just not possible. And then I realized that as much as we are complaining about how bad it is all is and how under supported women and moms are and all the things, are we actually willing to do something about it? And I realized that there is so much more available to us than we would believe, than we allow to receive in our lives. I realized that there is such a big part of the equation that we have power on as individuals. And am I willing to tend to my own puzzle piece and the possibilities and the responsibilities that come with that puzzle piece? Um, this like being conditioned to sacrifice our lives for our children as parents, is that actually serving anybody? And what if there was another way? I'm thinking about it as I have started calling it a seesaw belief. I used to believe that we have to choose as parents, or I have to choose, like either um either my kids are thriving and I am not, or I'm thriving and my kids are not well, or maybe they are okay, but I cannot then tend to them with the presence and the patience and the attention and the mm, gentleness, whatever, what I want to give to them. And then I ask myself, but what if that is not true? Actually, I refused to believe in this. And I invited other thoughts into my life. Like, what about we thrive most if we are all thriving? You understand what I mean? So, what about that they can thrive even more when I'm also thriving? And I can thrive more when they are thriving. What about if it's not like either or and we have to choose? In so many other things and so many other areas of my life, I felt the same. I felt, for example, um, if I choose to raise my children without school, aka free childcare, which, I mean, let's be honest, like that is what most people are using school, or many people are using school as free childcare. That's one of the main arguments when I tell people like I am unschooling my kids, they say like, "Oh, that's so nice. I wouldn't be able to do this because I don't know where to put my kids, or I wouldn't have the money to pay a nanny or something like that." Um, but what about if yeah, and then I thought I used to think like if I, take this luxury and choose to raise my children without school, then it means that I can't have enough money. Or yeah, then I need to pay with other goodness that other people, like mainstream people, are having. But I can't have that because I already have this goodness here. Again, back to the seesaw. I already chose to unschool. That is so much goodness, then I cannot, like, I then need to be sacrificed in other areas of life. But what about if that's not true? What about if we can have all the things that we want to have and that actually like it all feeds into each other. I love thinking about it as I used to play in orchestras. I played the cello in, at least when I was younger, I sometimes played in big symphony orchestras. And I love to think that our life is like a symphony and that everything is supposed to like come together and not kind of compete with each other, but turn into this beautiful symphony or a salad or whatever is your jam. I also love salads. Um, so that is what I'm thinking so much and what I realize so much in my life. What I also realized is, okay, two more things that are in my head now. There's probably more gonna come. So grab yourself a cup of tea. Um, so, first of all, sometimes, or so many times, I believe there is so much more goodness available to us, and we are not willing to allow it into our lives. I will give you an example so you can understand what this could look like. There's a billion examples, but I just had this experience the other day, and I think this is such a great symbol. So now I have been aware of this for a long, long time, so I caught myself in this. But I invite you to also observe your own life. So you might also be thinking like, oh, there's too little support. Like, um, nobody is caring about me, and nobody ever offers me help. And is that actually true? What does actually happen when somebody offers you help? And is it really true that nobody ever offers you help? So, a little while ago, we had planned to visit one of my dear friends, and we had a lot of luggage with us. And I said to her, we will probably arrive at this and this time with a bus. And she sends me a message back and says, listen, I will just take off work a little earlier and come and pick you up. I'll be there at 12:05. And, okay, hold this thought. So when I think of thriving life, I think of life energy moving through me, through my life, through my body, like limitless, just like this beautiful stream, just that's just in its riverbed and just, with full flow and joy and bubbly, just moving through. Now, back to the story. My friend is offering me help. This is the stream of life energy, like saying, "Hey, Rebecca, you are fully supported. Like, people see you, people care about you, people want to help you before you even have thought about that you might need or want help. They already envision, like, hey, you are there with your kids and all that luggage, and that would be so amazing to have this help." So this woman, like, she's there, like, she's that, she's embodying that thriving life, that support that I'm yearning for. And now what do I do? At least internally, initially, I was stopping that beautiful, abundant flow into my life by thinking, no, I mean, I might be a burden to her. That might really, be hard on her, and maybe she'll make less money than if she needs to go get off work earlier. Maybe, that's really inconvenient for her day. That's like in the middle of her day. And, I know that that's not her normal route. She has to go a completely different way. And, I was like in my mind, I was telling her out of this. Um, and I was assuming somehow deep down that this woman, who is a beautiful, competent, strong, phenomenal lighthouse woman, that she's not able to stand up for her needs and her capacities and her boundaries. So I believe that she is not able of caretaking her own self. And that is not serving neither me nor her. And in my life, I have almost exclusively, at least the people who are really close to me, we know that it's safe to say no. We know, and we have these agreements, like obviously, like not written, but we talk about this. We talk about these topics so often. And whenever there is any doubt around this, like for example, if I want to ask somebody for help, but I'm afraid that maybe it's too much on the other person, I would then say to them, I mean, that's a whole big other topic. We'll go more into this in other spaces and in my mentorship spaces and so on. But just to give you a brief idea, I would say, listen, um, I really would love to have help with this thing. And it felt a little challenging for me to ask you this, but I trust that you have the competence and the confidence and feel safe enough to stand up for your own needs and your own boundaries. And so I know that this woman will do this, that she would. And here I didn't even ask her. I didn't even think about that she could possibly pick us up or that that would be an option because I knew she was working, and just in general, I knew there was a bus and whatever. It didn't even cross my mind. So I made up this big story, massively blocking this stream of goodness coming my way. And that is not serving me. Now, fortunately, I am aware of this. And I think I just asked her, like, are you really sure about this? And I hope you know that I didn't expect this. I probably next time I wouldn't want to write that even that. I would just say, wow, oh, thank you so much. I mean, what a blessing, what a gift, you know? Because I don't know how it is for you, but for me, if I want to gift you something, if I see I can support you and I have the capacities to do this, and I'm here like I'm waiting to give this to you, and I know that it's such a great help for you, and you say, well, no, I don't really want this. It feels actually really disappointing. And it is really this, I can feel it in my body that this energy, this stream, this beautiful stream of thriving life is blocked when we are saying no to support that we actually really want and that could change our lives. So there's so many tiny things where we ourselves are standing in the way for thriving life. And I am committed right now to look at all those blocks that I am perpetuating and keeping up or putting up in my own life. And I welcome you to come along on this journey because I believe that this is so, so, so powerful. Realizing how much we actually can do about this, how much we are impacting this, how much we are co-creating this society that is so isolated, that doesn't receive help. Well, if I'm not willing to receive the help, yeah, then after some time, people will also stop asking me because they already assume that, well, Rebecca never wants my help. That feels really disappointing. I actually feel really shitty when I ask her, like, can I help you? And I see that you're struggling, but you're saying no, then they just stop asking. So there is so much of thriving life that we have in our own hands that we can shift. Another thing is that we have totally internalized the system that we grew up in. We have internalized that we are a hero if we're doing everything by ourselves. I believe it comes very much from being at school, when you're at school, and when it really, really, yes, people tell kids at school, like, oh, you should be helping your friends. But when it really, really, really matters, when you sit in an exam, for example, you will get punished big time if you are receiving help or if you're giving help. And that sits deep. I mean, I still remember this feeling of sitting next to my friend and, you know, I see that she's struggling with something and she wants my answer and I'm trying to like write the answer on a piece of paper and show her, and the fear that is like in every cell of my body. What if the teacher sees me? I get so punished. And so we are perpetuating that in our minds, even though we say in our our words like, oh, it would be so nice with more help. But like when the help is there, when the help is knocking on your door, what are you actually doing? Um, and so many other things. Like we're our worst critiker. Like we are criticizing ourselves all the time. We are like I just had the conversation with about this about being proud of ourselves. I had a conversation with my daughter because I realized that's another realization that I had, that I'm rarely ever proud of myself, but I'm excellent in finding things that I'm not good at. I can spot those things everywhere, all the time, every day. But celebrating myself and being proud of myself, that's like really rare occasions. And things like that. That again, like when you're like when you sat at school, or I'm not assuming anything about you. I'll talk about myself. When I was sitting at school, when I was writing an essay, um, you know, the main focus was on the mistakes. Like how many mistakes did you make, or how few mistakes did you make? Once now I'm going into something else, but I just this story just comes back to me. Many years ago, I was having a private session with a beautiful mama. I believe she was from maybe Austria. I think um, in Austria you have to, or at least any country where you have to do like they were homeschooling, but they had to do like the government required like really like very strict testing, and the parents were the ones who had to test their children. So this mom said, yeah, my boy, he was writing this essay and he was so proud. He was so proud. And he handed her this essay and she was reading through it and giving it back to him. And all she had been focusing on was the mistakes that he'd been making. So she went through this with him and said, see, you spell this differently, and here you forgot a comma, and here this should be spelled with a capital A. And then the boy said, Mom, I was so excited. I was so looking forward to showing you this story that I wrote. I was so proud of it. And all you saw was the mistakes I made. You had all your focus on those mistakes. And I know that I have very much internalized this, so much. And it's not serving us. It is really not serving us. Now, I celebrate this mother so much that she could really take this. And that was like for her a line in the sand moment where she realized, like, hey, this is not at all how I want to raise my children. And I, something else that I believe that we have internalized so much is that there is, mm, that hardship and struggle and martyrdom is something that we should strive for. That it's something that is so honorable, so noble. And maybe like I like to think about back to this beautiful midwife, Rachel. She once said, a sacrifice is a holy offering. And so when I think of making a sacrifice, I want to think about, is this really, truly holy for me? And that could be in a situation, let's say, my child is really sick and hasn't been sleeping for 5 nights in a row. I'm so tired, I can barely keep my eyes open. But I am there, sitting by the side of my child, doing whatever, wrapping them, rubbing them, stroking them, singing for them, praying over them, crying with them, holding them, carrying them, whatever. Even though I have barely any energy left. That is a holy offering for me. That is something that even when I think through it a lot, and when I run it through all my values, I feel, yes, that feels true to myself. That feels aligned for myself. However, many other things I don't feel are aligned with me, like many other struggles I don't feel are aligned with me anymore. And I like I feel there's a fine line. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I still haven't found a really good balance. I believe that on the one hand, I want and I wish that the hardship that mothers are going through is acknowledged widely. That mothers are seen and that mothers are seen in their struggles. And also, I've noticed in other mothers and also inside of myself that receiving praise for the struggle can also leave us in that loop of struggle because it gives us some kind of a boost. The praise feels like a carrot, a gratification, a badge of honor, or something like that. So when we feel that like we are longing for evidence of our worthiness or acknowledgement from eternal sources from other humans, and we receive this acknowledgement by others seeing our struggle, well, then we will keep on, like subconsciously at least, we will keep on struggling and keep on um, talking about our struggles and focusing on our struggles so that we can receive more praise. And that will actually keep us in this loop. And I find today that it's actually more courageous to dare to create thriving life for ourselves, to be willing to find solutions, possibilities, ways how we can create thriving life as mothers and as mothers who are not sacrificing the well-being and the health of our children, but who are dedicated to be the most present, peaceful, conscious parents who are tending to the thriving of our children while also tending to our own thriving. I feel that this is so much more courageous. It requires so much more willingness to do this than to live and mother in a way that feels really, really hard. I'd love to hear your thoughts around this, but that is at least my own observations. One of the reasons, or yeah, one of the reasons is what I just mentioned, this that we feel we get a lot of praise for the hardship. And maybe people could look at us and maybe with envy or think that we don't deserve it, or how can she have this but not me, or so. If we are thriving and other women might not be thriving. Also, the like right now, the collective and the collective of mothers in particular is so much in this survival mode. That's our normal as the collective of mothers. So if we create thriving life, we are kind of stepping out of our collective and doing something different. It always requires so much courage because, like from the old times, that was a huge danger to do something so radically different than our people. That would bring us into severe danger. And today, I believe it's for, at least for women mothers in Western countries, I believe for most of us, it is safe to go there, or we can make it safe for ourselves We need to take our nervous system along, our nervous system that sees the safety in the struggle because our nervous system is wired for struggle, for survival in most mothers, I believe. So that is our comfort zone. The comfort zone of most mothers and probably most humans today is within the discomfort, within the struggle, within the survival. So we need to take our nervous system along. So our nervous system, our body can feel, wow, it's actually safe to be well. It is safe to be thriving. So um that is a part of the journey, I believe. But it feels like a radical step to say, hey, I am willing to create thriving life for myself. I'm willing to do something so radically different to most other people who are just spinning in this loop of um, survival and doing jobs that suck all their energy out of them, living according to schedules that don't serve their bodies, living according to rules that don't feel aligned to them or to their values or don't serve their bodies, their health, their needs. That is what the majority of people is doing. And if you are willing to step out of this and say, hey, I don't believe that I'm made for this. I believe I am made for goodness. I, you know, I like to think about, I like to imagine, like, for example, me as a mother, like, how do I want my kids to live their lives? Like now, but also in 10 years or 20 years or 50 years or whatever. I would be so, uh, I mean, my heart would break if I would see that they are just sacrificing their lives, that they are living to somebody else's schedule, and that they are not, that they are giving away their joy, their life energy, their talents, their gifts, and instead they are just, in this mundane, gray, life sucking, life draining cycle. Like that would not fill me with joy. And I'm thinking that, the creator, God, goddess, the divine life, the universe, whatever you call them, they must think the same about me and all of us. Like, hey, you were gifted with this life, with this this body and the breath and, all these possibilities. What are you doing with this gift? And I would love to see you be well. I would, it would make my heart sing if you would share your gifts with the world instead of hiding them under the sofa. It would mean the world to me if you would live a life where you can actually sleep every morning until you feel well rested and then start your day. It would bring me so much joy if you were surrounded with people that uplift you, that support you wholeheartedly, that pour into you, that celebrate you, that see you, that hear you, and also that you have enough space to just be by yourself if that is what is nourishing for you. I would be so lit up to see you lit up. That, wow, that would just be the biggest gift back. And that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I was gifted this life and it is so precious. And what am I doing with it? And is it the most, like, am I really doing the most out of it? when I'm sacrificing myself and my joy, and when I'm just when I just keep on in this struggle survival loop? Or is it my time now and my responsibility and my possibility to break these dysfunctional cycles and explore how I can create thriving life for me more and more and more and more and more, step by step, moment by moment? That is a journey that I'm devoted to right now. And depending on when you're watching this video, I would love to take you along. I invite you to check out my profile on Instagram or Telegram or on Facebook, ittakesavillage.se, and join me on this journey of becoming a thriving mama. I believe that this is a revolution, that this is an inside out revolution, which is the only revolution that really works. Like, we cannot change the system like from the outside. Like, we it just doesn't work. Like, that can nobody can, even if we got like the most amazing whatever world president or something who says, okay, as from now on everybody gets to thrive. Like, it still wouldn't work if we are carrying this resistance within ourselves. It is up to every single one of us. And I would be so delighted to be on this journey together with you. And I really believe, um, like, I also had for a long time, I poured a lot of energy into like fighting the system in different ways. And I just noticed that it was sucking my energy. It was, it was not, it was directing my energy towards things that I didn't, towards the things that I didn't want. And that didn't help me. And I was in fighting energy, and I don't want fighting in my life. I believe there is a time and place for some of these things, but I believe mostly, at least for me and right now, I want to focus on what I want to create. And also that I believe is like most people, I think, are so much easier going for the fighting, for focusing on like jumping on what is not good instead of creating ourselves what we want to see in the world. Because this fighting is again in this struggle, sacrifice energy, and this hardship and harshship energy that is so familiar to us, that keeps us within our comfort zone, even though it might sometimes still also be uncomfortable. But like really tending to our own well-being, pouring into ourselves, looking at where am I actually fighting like against myself, within myself? Where have I internalized that system that I want to fight against, that I don't want anymore? And so many times we have so much internalized that. And I believe, like, really, the only thing that we really, really, really can change in our lives is us ourselves. So, and there's a lot of work to do, at least within of myself, and maybe also the same for you. So I so much invite you to come onto this journey with me. Join Thriving Mama, my 1 month immersion, where we're going to focus so much on creating a thriving life, which I'm so, so, so excited about. I have the most beautiful, gorgeous, radiant women inside, and we are gonna explore how to create thriving life, whatever that means for you. And we're going to do this side by side in a group of the most beautiful, radiant women who are dedicated to be that movement of mothers who are well nourished, who are joyful, who are supported, who are abundant, who are radiant, who are thriving. And I really believe that this is the most radiant revolution we've ever seen. And I would love to have you with us if you feel that this is what is calling you. If you feel, no, this is not possible for me, it's that can only work for other people, or not now, I first need more money or a better life or older kids or whatever, then it's not for you because is like this is a very um like you have to be open for it. You have to be willing to find ways, even though the whole world is plastered with evidence for that it's not possible. But we are here to think out of the box, to call in, to create something that we cannot yet see. And we're doing this together in this radiant, beautiful, supportive sisterhood. And I would love to have you with us. And I noticed that it's already so late, the sun is going down, and my lighting is, I don't have my really good light with me. Thank you that you're still here, and thank you that you bear with my imperfect lighting. And reach out to me. Send me an email on info@ittakesavillage.se or meet me on social media, send me a DM, and I would love to have you with us on this journey of thriving mamas. It, I really, really, really believe that we are not gonna be the same after this journey together, 1 month together, side by side, sister to sister. Oh, it's going to be so epic. And I'd love to have you with us. And if you are somebody who is not a mom, you're also so welcome. If you happen to be a dad, send the mother of your kids, send any woman that you know might need this. Like, we need thriving women, we need thriving humans. And every single human is born through a woman. It's the women, it's the moms who are like the soil of humanity. So this is where we get to start. Like, to nourish the soil, it's just like outside on the fields or in the garden. Like, the more nourished the soil is, the more nourished will everything be that's growing out of it. So let's tend the soil, and to you, your body, your soul, your thriving. I'd love to welcome you inside. Thank you for being here with me today.